An elite squad of nano-enhanced soldiers join forces with the faction to put an end to 15 years of unnecessary bloodshed under the brutal dictator Sopot. Red Faction 2.
Hello there, SteelSnake72 with my Red Faction 2 medium difficulty playthrough. This is immediately after the Quill boss fight, and this is a really simple level. It's actually a good level, and it's one where the game lets you use the awesome sniper rifle you just picked up. And with this level alone, this game already shows it has much better pacing than any sort of like recent Call of Duty, perhaps apart from Black Ops 3. Because what's good about this level, you're not going to struggle with this level at all, really. I mean, perhaps some of the submarine stuff might trick you, but this part, this sniping section, is dead easy. It's really simple, and it's nice. It's a nice breath, because the Quill fight can be pretty intense. It can take a lot from you. You know, there's a good chance you're heading into this one with low health, and it's simple as all. You just gotta snipe a few enemies. They're pretty easy to find, despite the colours probably not being the best. But I didn't have any major difficulty finding too many people, and you kill enough, and then Tangier's going to show up, and you're going to start a submarine section, which is very similar to something off 007 Nightfire, actually. Which I get quite a few James Bond Nightfire vibes from this game, in an odd way. I mean, they do release at a similar time, so they follow a lot of the same sort of mechanics of like shooters from those early 2000s, before, like, you know, back when we got sort of a weird blend of stuff, because it wasn't just one game dominating everything. I mean, Medal of Honor was the game to beat, but that was more just in the World War II department. Not so much for all shooters, because before that all shooters were like Doom and Wolfenstein, all crazy and mental. So games sort of, they followed similar mechanics, but they didn't all copy one sort of style, which you sort of get now with Call of Duty clones and whatnot. Which was a more interesting time, so you got more experimentation with games like this. But I say, guys, this is all the calm before the storm, which is level 10 and yet level 11. And for just a quick note, level 10 is going to be split up into two parts. It's the only level I've had to do that with. I could put it all into one, but it's I think you'd be looking at a 45-minute video maybe. And you know, people don't have the best attention span. You know, and not everyone has that much. You know, if you've got time to watch 45-minute videos, you know, just all in one go, you're pretty lucky. You know, not everyone has that amount of dedicated time, so I've split it into two parts just for cohesion more than anything, really. I can split up the boss fights that way, because there's two, they sort of like bookend each part of the level. Because I think the first part of level 10 is all one video to itself, because it's a really difficult section of an 18-minute like just slog, all one combat section, and it's a really tricky part of the game. Because if you die, you've got to go right back to the beginning and lose. You could potentially lose, you know, 15 to 20 minutes of progress, which actually happened to me, which was... You would probably, if you don't like swearing, you wouldn't have liked to have been sat next to me when that happened. Because I certainly wasn't a happy person, especially knowing how close I was to finishing the level afterwards. It made me even more mad. But I got it second time for you guys, so it's no biggie. Just meant I had to replay the level again. Because but those levels are really tricky, and they're good, they're well designed. I like them because, you know, they start getting you to use all the weapons, and there's the new enemies. It's a really diverse, fantastic climax, and it does it so well with the pacing, because you get this, as I say, this much quieter section with the sniping, and then a slow submarine section before it revs it right back up to 100, you know, for the big showdown with an epic boss fight as well at the end, which is actually really cool. But as I say, guys, it's only about 4 or 5 minutes of sniping before you'll get the objective. Simply run for the submarine and just get going, because that's going to end the level. Just the dialogue. And there it is, Sopot's statue, the thing that I've been referencing. You'll have seen it a few times through the game if you pay attention, and that's where the game's going to finish. But there you go, once you've done your sniping, you're into the submarine section of the game, which is sort of a throwback to the first game, because you've got a few moments like this, but this is a lot shorter, and thankfully it is, because I don't know what it is, guys, but I never like underwater sections, ever. It's one of those things like escort missions that, I don't know, no matter how they try and do it for you, it just doesn't seem to ever work. I think the problem with water combat is just it's too slow, isn't it? It feels slow. You can't see that well. And I was talking about Nightfire earlier because that has a section just sort of similar to this before you go to the main island where the game ends with the climax. You've got a moment when you're in the Acid Bite and Vanquish and you're doing some underwater combat, and it's very similar to this of trying to get into the actual base. And both of them have to be seen as sort of a low part of the game, although we've already been well past the low part of this game. It's pretty simple, just dodge the mines and get moving, but it's just underwater sections, yeah, they're too slow, I think. I mean, could you imagine a combination of underwater and escort? I can, because it's in Metal Gear Solid 2, and by all rights it should be a million times worse than it is. It's not too bad. For some reason, I don't know whether it's just my love of Metal Gear Solid lets me get past it, because it's a hell of a lot worse than it should be. You know, Resident Evil 4, everyone loves those moments where you're escorting Ashley. Is it Ashley around? He said, yeah, that's sarcasm if you don't know Resident Evil 4, because yeah, those are the best bits in the game, isn't it, when you have to tell Ashley, just go hide in the bin and let me kill the enemies. It's certainly not the high point of that game. Thankfully the combat pulls it through because it's so good. But I mean, the submarine sections in Red Faction 1, they were interesting. I mean, there's not much difference in them, to be honest with you. I think I'd say this game's a bit shorter with it. And what you want to be doing, guys, for this is just hiding, you know, in wreckage and stuff, because that way it gets you safe from the mines, because no one likes being blown up by mines. Especially in Black Ops 3 when you're on the last checkpoint of realistic and you've just done all the combat all in one go without being hit once, and then one mine kills you and you've got to do it all over again. And you're literally 2 minutes away from finishing the game. You know, that's the joy of mines, I guess. Anyone that's played will know that pain. But yeah, I think this section, it's not too long. It drags on a little at the end, I think, which just shows, because it's only about 10 minutes, the same stuff. I think one area where the second one, I have to even admit myself, as someone who likes the second one, the one area it does pale to in the first game is in terms of variety. Like in the first game, you can guarantee you'll be doing something different every 20 minutes, for better or worse, because there are some terrible moments like the stealth. Any of the stealth is god awful, but there's always variety. So anything that's bad doesn't go on too long. Anything that's pretty good also doesn't go on too long. So you never get tired of it, and it does leave you coming away from Red Faction 1 very positive. Red Faction 2 doesn't do the variety as well, I have to admit. It's very much the same sort of just shooting. And I'm not sure if this music is from Red Faction 1. I can't put my finger on that one. Yeah, I'm not too sure actually. It's say, guys, just keep heading forward. We'll get into Soapot's base. That's a much more interesting part of the game. But again, I suppose it slows the pace. It does its job of like slowing you down and giving you your breath back for the moment when you're gonna need it, and you're gonna be holding your breath a lot in those last 2 levels. But I feel like games don't do epic climaxes like this anymore in their campaigns, because you know they don't seem to have a gradual step up and like an end goal, and games seem to end so suddenly these days. You never feel like the end's coming half the time. I'm not saying it never happens. I mean, even Homefront managed to do it in the sense that the last level is like easily the best level of the game on the Golden Gate Bridge, and you feel like it's the last level. It's actually, I think it's where the game almost peaks. Really, it's a shame it has to end at that point. I don't know whether it's just the Golden Gate Bridge and my love of James Bond again, because of View to a Kill's ending, with good old like 55-year-old Roger Moore fighting Christopher Walken. Which that was fun, wasn't it? Classic Bond. You don't seem to get that so much now. You get stupid things like Spectre where he shoots down a helicopter in 2 bullets. Might have worked in Roger Moore's era, but not in Craig's. I'm going to avoid the James Bond discussion for another time, even though I would love to go into that. Because if you should know something about me, is I love James Bond. Bit too much, probably for my friends' liking most of the time, but... So I'll try to stay away from that tangent as long as I can and try and focus on the game more than anything. This is the annoying part of this level, because what you've got to do is... I can't tell you how the scripting works here, guys, because I'm not too sure. I believe you've got to keep shooting these things, because Tangier's, what she's doing is she's opening these like bay parts for you to go in and end the level. But to my knowledge, you can't just go straight into them. You seem to have to take a load of these enemies out, and finding the right one can be a pain. But I'll talk you through it, guys, and what I did to get through the level.
I need more time to hack into their security system.
I believe Tangier will tell you. Pardon me, as I just don't even know what I'm doing, just breathing, I guess. Tangier, Tangier will tell you when she's opened one of them, but I don't think it points out to you which one she's opened. Whether it's the same one, I don't know. So just stay alive, keep shooting the enemies. Nice and simple and straightforward. But if I just go back to what I was saying, I mean, I think Metro 2033 and to some extent Metro Last Light do the endings brilliantly. I loved Metro 2033 because you knew it was the end of the game because it's symbolising the fact that you're climbing a big tower, and I do love that in games. Because I don't know, just there's something, the matching image of that you're climbing to the end of the game and climbing a big tower. I loved Metro 2033, yeah. It was just a fantastic game and so great on the hardest difficulty. I played it on the hardest difficulty first time, and I absolutely adored it. You know, it does such an interesting thing with difficulty. I genuinely believe that the Metro games are worse if you play them on normal difficulty. They become pretty generic shooters. But I believe that when you put it on that Ranger Hardcore difficulty, which you can on the PS4, you don't have to buy it as DLC like the stupid crap you had to on PS3. It's so good because the enemies die in like 1 or 2 hits, but so do you, so it's such a visceral, really fun challenge. Metro Last Light was pretty good as well. I mean, it's just an extension really, especially in the Metro Redux they make 2033 like Last Light, in terms of how it works and looks. I would say that both games I think do tail off in the second half of them. I think they both start strong and end a bit weak. Speaking of recent games as well, Titanfall 2 had a pretty good ending. Yeah, with the cool Titan at the end. But generally I feel like games don't do the cool climaxes as much as they used to, like, because they're so bothered about leaving sequel bait open, you never seem to get that proper resolution or anything. Like, we don't just tell one-off plots anymore. As you can see, guys, right in this clip, I'm trying to figure out if the level's over or not, but I'm just keep destroying as many subs as you can. I think maybe you can finish this level much earlier, but just stick to what I'm doing if you're not sure, guys. I mean, you'll get the objective. I think what you've got to do now is you've got to try and find which one's open, and they'll be like what I'm just passing now, guys. One of those, like, I really don't know how to describe them. What you want to do is go under them, which I'm going to try with this one, but I don't believe this one's open or something. I mean, the water's there, I believe, but I'm not sure. I'm not too sure. Just keep testing. As soon as you get the objective saying it's gained entry, just check all the stuff underneath them, and one of them should let you through. And that should be the end of the level before we can get into the real good stuff. And I'll be able to talk some proper tangents. So the climax of games. Because there's probably short videos as I can't go into as much depth as I was like. If I can get my words right, I can't get into as much depth as I would like. And this is annoying because I'm watching this now knowing that I can probably end the level, but I'm really not sure what's going on, so I'm just kind of still firing at these things. And it's stuff like this that makes you just hate underwater sections, especially when you don't know where to go. I mean, there's nothing worse than that, is there, in gaming? Unless it be an underwater section where you're lost and it's escort underwater. But I think I find it's under this one, guys, and that'll be the end of the submarine level, and I'll see you guys in the next video when stuff really gets serious.